Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Come on inside the house, bring yourself up your ringside seat, get your soda, your popcorn, your whiskey, get everything you need. Because we can't see our guests. We can't see nothing today.
No, we won't see them after a while. We won't see them ever again, but we're having a hard time seeing them now. And I'm not sure we're loving what we're seeing of them when we do see them. So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So obviously our topic today is the man who is seen as the 17 champ, the last
never to be
champ.
Seen again.
John Cena. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into our topic, we always got to give a shout out to our sponsor. Look, old JD's done come around again, man.
Oh, yeah. We find our way. I mean, they got so many selections. It ain't hard to go through one here, one there, one all over again. But I think it's one of our house favorites here.
Old Jack Daniels Bonded 100 proof. Definitely some good stuff. So let's cheers to John Cena this week.
All right. John Cena, Jack Daniels.
That's definitely one of my favorite Jacks.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that one.
100 proof is good. That'll help us get through the episode. Keep drinking. Anybody out there that's at home, if you're not driving, if you're relaxing, listening to our voices right now, also have yourself a shot or two.
Have you some whiskey.
Absolutely.
All right, John Cena's farewell run. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to kind of break it down into several phases. Before we get to the last run that he's in right now, though, let's talk about all the stuff that's kind of happened with John in the past. Let's talk about favorite matches that we've ever seen Cena be in. So for you, Frank, what was your John Cena favorite match?
Well, upside, John Cena had a lot of memorable matches in Chicago, right? I mean, Chicago had a really strong love-hate relationship with John Cena. You had your younger crowd that just loved some John Cena. They couldn't get to the box office fast enough to buy the tickets. Then you had that older, more mature crowd that was like, ugh, we just can't stand John Cena. We got too much John Cena. Get rid of, they're pushing him down our throats, blah, 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 all the things that are said. But in that storied history in Chicago, he main evented a WrestleMania once in Chicago. A WrestleMania main event that I happened to see in person.
Yeah, I was there. Go back in the archive.
Absolutely. That was definitely a I was there moment. But, I mean, he wrestled Triple H in a WrestleMania main event. His first actual WrestleMania main event, WrestleMania 22 in 2006 in Chicago. That has to be my favorite match. They told a great story. You know, Triple H was the long running champion. He was still the king of the hill, and John Cena came in as champion, but he was still in his young run. He wasn't an established star yet. They were just trying to get him over, and they were using what talent they had to try and strap that rocket to his back. And I mean, we had a slew of injuries that year. Batista was out. There was a lot of guys that weren't able to get in that WrestleMania. So they really leaned on John in that, and they really wanted to make him. And I think Triple H did probably the best thing he possibly could do by letting John Cena go over by submission, no doubt, and retaining the world championship, which isn't really a WrestleMania staple. So
no, that's
always going to be my favorite John match because I was there.
I like that match. I've always been a huge Triple H fan. Now, I've never really enjoyed the man that you can't see for most of his run. I've enjoyed the last year of his run. That might be an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, you're kind of on the wrong end of the seesaw here, right?
But
everybody else loved the first 20, and you're like, no, I hated that. But this last year, I'm like, ugh, get me out of this. And you're all like, yeah, I'm all for it.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here right now?
So for me, though, my favorite John Cena match, it's not a match, it's a series of matches that he had when he was the U.S.
You mean the Iron Man championship with Bret the Hitman Hart?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
That didn't happen.
No. God,
that would have been such a nightmare. Poor Bret. If he had to work Goldberg and John Cena, good Lord.
This is when John Cena was the U.S. champ and he had the U.S. Championship Open. Those were kind of
spinner.
He didn't have the spinner.
No, he didn't have the spinner, unfortunately. No. That was the original spinner was John's U.S. spinner.
Yeah, and the god-awful ugly spinner.
Yeah, that was WrestleMania 20. You're talking like WrestleMania 38 or something like that. I think we're a little far apart at what we're talking here.
So for me, John Cena had that U.S. belt, and he had the U.S. Open Challenge. And I believe the very first one to accept his U.S. Open Challenge was Kevin Owens, the current, at that time, NXT champion.
Yeah.
So he had, I believe, 3 matches with Kevin.
Something like that.
Every single one of them was amazing to me. First and foremost, amazing because Kevin Owens, he was in NXT. You saw him, you heard the rumors of, who Kevin Steen was on the indie circuit. So you kind of knew the work rate he was going to put in. But when he got into those matches with John, amazing the way that John worked with him, because John started pulling out stuff you never saw John pull out before.
Yeah.
It was incredible to see that. And that was also, again, seen Kevin down at NXT, seen him on the indies, all of that good stuff. But when you first took the notice of that fisherman's buster suplex that Kevin likes to do, that nobody else does it like him. And, everybody tries to get the suplex on him, but he inverts it and takes them over.
Yeah.
That was the first time I really, kind of paid attention to that move. And I'm like, I love that move. So it's almost funny. It's like my favorite series of John Cena matches isn't even about John Cena. It's about the opponents that he faced.
True, but it was also John making a guy. And let's be honest, especially here on our podcast, I mean, we really appreciate when a guy goes out of his way. I mean, think about my match. It was Triple H basically, solidifying a made guy. He won the title the year before against JBL. Okay, yeah, that was a big title win because it was a title win, but it was still JBL, right?
Right.
So you're looking at it like, well, yeah, anybody could have beat JBL. JBL was at the end of his run. It was almost over. John Cena just happened to be the guy. Well, that's not going to establish you. That doesn't make you the guy. But when you go over a guy like Triple H, I mean, that makes you the guy. So yeah. I think we're both looking at it from the same aspect, just different sides of the coin, so to speak.
Yeah, because, I mean, in that U.S. Open Challenge, we got to meet Kevin Owens, we got to meet Sami Zayn, we got to meet AJ Styles. I mean, we all knew AJ, but as far as like the return of the old work rate of TNA AJ Styles really got brought out in that U.S. Open Challenge. Some of those matches were just fantastic. And again, for John to work with those guys, put them over like that, and, help get them over, introduce them to a new crowd on the main roster. Definitely my favorite set of matches. The only other match that I could think of with John would have been the very first match I believe I saw John and Randy Orton go up against each other.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely one of John's marquee opponents anyway, but yeah I can definitely see that.
Because I mean, Randy was kind of like floundering for a little bit.
Yeah.
Even in Evolution, even when they first made him champ, he was still kind of floundering a little bit. But I think those matches with John kind of solidified Randy.
It definitely helped. I mean, so same way. Randy Orton in Evolution. I mean, Randy was a world champion before John even got there, right? John didn't get there to 2005. Randy won it at SummerSlam 2004. But how did that turn out? They Evolution turned on him right away, and then Randy just kind of, he could, like you said, he floundered. He flailed around out there. He was just a big guy holding a big belt, just kind of, waiting in the wings for Triple H to come and regain the title and do his whole thing with Batista and all that. So, it didn't really give Randy Orton that same W that John got from Triple H later on, because Randy wasn't ready yet. Randy was still young. He was still trying to find his way, and they were just like, hey, let's make him world champ. Plus, they were sour against Brock Lesnar being the youngest world champion because he had left the company 6 months before. So they said, well, you know what? We got a guy here that's a little bit younger. We'll make him the new youngest champion. Now we never have to say that about Brock again. So there's always a reason behind. There's a what is it? A method behind the madness.
Yep.
There's always a method behind the madness, especially with Vince McMahon in charge.
Ain't that the truth? All right, so let's talk about John's current final run that he's in. Speaking of Vince McMahon,
we have to.
Speaking of Vince McMahon being in charge, would we have gotten what we have?
God, no, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. So, and obviously, if you've been a long time listener, we're up and down about Vince. There's some times where we're like, God, get the old guy out. It's time for him to go cut his grass. It's time for him to go do other things because the business has passed him by. But there's also times where we have to give that man his flowers and say, hey, we wouldn't have any of this. We'd still be on the indie circuit damn near if it had to been for Vince McMahon. We'd be watching regional stuff here. Carolina Pro or some nonsense like that. We'd be watching that right now if we were watching it all.
WNCPW.
Yeah, essentially. It was like
World North Carolina Professional Wrestling.
Yeah, I was going to go a completely different way, but we'll go with what you said. All right, we'll take it. But yeah, nonetheless, so you got to give him his flowers. But when you look at the marquee characters, right? So John Cena, obviously, that's who we're talking about. But I mean, let's think a little bit further. Randy Orton, he's flailing around right now, in current. But he's a top guy. He shouldn't be. Roman Reigns, what the hell is he doing? Roman's like a side player to the Jey Uso storyline right now. What the hell? Come on now, give me a break. If Vince was in charge, would Roman be side playing anybody? Roman would be at year 6 of his world championship reign right now. Sending guys to AEW faster than their contracts could dry off the ink. But we don't. So while we do appreciate a lot of Triple H's bookings, I don't necessarily know if top guy booking is a Triple H thing, because when Triple H was a top guy, he really only booked for himself. I mean, I don't remember him booking for The Rock back then. I don't remember him. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of contributions for Stone Cold Steve Austin back then. He was kind of like, hey, where can we fit Triple H into this world title picture for the first 8 years of his, time in corporate. So I'm not necessarily 100% sold on his booking of top guys. Mid-card guys, the women, oh yeah, he's great at that. But sometimes he let's not go too far with the great. He ain't signed us yet, so we don't have to kiss the corporate ass.
That's true.
We're not gonna go that far into him being great. He's good, but but top guys, I don't know. And John Cena, I just feel like there's something missing in this John Cena run right now that either he can't see or we expect and they don't want.
So I've got a different take on it, but I do agree that, Vince, it wouldn't have happened if Vince would still be around. John Cena would have never turned heel. Vince would have never let it happen.
Not that lackluster heel turn, at least.
It would have never happened. So here are my thoughts on the John Cena last year run. The heel turn, to me, was initially great to see.
Yeah, it had massive potential.
Because completely different. Man had a 25-year career and never once turned heel. Acted heel in a couple of matches when he had to, a la Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
But to me, the heel turn flopped because the other half, the payoff of the heel turn, went back to Hollywood.
Yeah, well, maybe he did.
He didn't have his dance partner, because I believe that all would have culminated to the end, and we'll get there too eventually, that the end final boss would have been John versus The Rock. I believe that's where it would have all went, and I also believe that Rock would have took him out in his last match. That's kind of how I thought this whole farewell tour was going to end. Somewhere along the way, John was going to see the light. He was going to flip back to the good side like he did, but then the final boss would have been the final match.
Yeah, so before we go past that, we definitely got to address, because we've had this discussion numerous times. Apparently, it's going to be a recurrent theme.
Do
on
not
the
bring up
podcast.
Travis Scott.
Definitely not Travis Scott. The final match for John Cena was never going to be The Rock, because John Cena said he was going to wrestle his last WrestleMania back in April. The Rock, I'm going to repeat it until we die. Like I said, it's a recurrent theme on this podcast. Rock don't wrestle in December. Rock don't wrestle in November.
Might I bring to you TKO as Exhibit A with their WrestlePalooza is the new WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. They've been in charge for what, a year and a half? How many times has Rock wrestled not WrestleMania? It's not going to happen.
None.
So right, and it never will happen. Rock doesn't come back for a damn December pay-per-view. December to dismember, Rock don't do, okay? That ain't a Rock thing, right?
Shout out Paul Heyman.
Exactly. That ain't a Rock thing, right? We ain't doing that. So what we ain't going to do is wrestle outside of WrestleMania. So like WrestleMania Saudi, yeah, we may see Rock at that.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, we're not. WrestlePalooza be damned. Whenever The Rock didn't even want his name attached to WrestlePalooza. He don't even reference his TKO board of director shit no more. That's out the window too because they got these crazy names and bad storylines. But so I do think though Rock could have sent a representative a la Roman Reigns. We could have got into that, and 6 months ago, I was all on board for Roman Reigns being the guy to send John Cena packing. Because why not? Right now, of course, I've changed over the last like 3 weeks. We'll get into that later where I changed too, because I ain't relenting off that. I live by that. But yeah, 6 months ago, I would have swore Roman would have been the guy that would have represented the bloodline, represented The Rock, and took John Cena out. I thought that was the most attractive match they could have had for John to go out with. I thought it would have had the best payoff. I thought it would have done what it needed to do. It would have gave a top guy a boost. It would have been like Brock Lesnar beating The Undertaker. Something totally unneeded, but if you're going to do it as big as possible, right?
Right.
I thought all that was in the works, but apparently Triple H thought differently, and that's why we don't work for him, because sometimes his head goes up his ass and he forgets about common sense.
So let's talk about what we have gotten, though, with Cena's final run. We've got Cena versus Randy Orton. We got that for the final
seeing it.
Final last time.
Yeah. Love seeing it.
We've gotten Cena versus CM Punk.
Love seeing it.
It was good.
Uh-huh.
It was good.
We had a nostalgia tour. I do like it.
Nostalgia tour. We got Cena versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, we did get that.
What else did we get?
We got that twice.
What else did we get with Cena? Cena versus Brock.
Yeah, we definitely got Cena versus Brock. So that was a great payoff for me because, one, it was completely unexpected. Two, there isn't anybody that has rivaled John Cena's career for the same exact time that they've both been wrestling that has bettered John. I mean, and Brock, he's what, 5-2 or whatever in the hell now, I think the record is. So he's dominated John. And, if this was the NFL, I mean, John would be a footnote in Brock Lesnar's history book, not the John Cena that we know and appreciate. Had Brock never left WWE back in 2004, we may not have John Cena like we know him now. John may have always been a mid-card guy. There's no way of telling. Fact of the matter is, that was the biggest payoff for me out of what we got here was that match, because that gave me the real nostalgia feels of, damn, John's been fighting his whole career to get over this guy, still can't get over the hump.
We also got John versus Jay in the final two standing from the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. We also got John in the Elimination Chamber, where he got to mix it up with Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul.
Yep.
We also got John versus Logan.
Yeah.
Out of all of those matches, again, unpopular opinion, my favorite was John versus Logan.
Ugh. So before we go farther in that, let me ask, what did that do for either participant?
To me, I don't think it did anything as far as fan service. I think it did a hell of a lot for Logan Paul.
So if that's the case, what has Logan done since? What have you done for me lately?
Well,
his ass ain't even been on TV.
No, and there's a good reason why he's not been on TV.
Why? Because that match was trash?
No, because he's had family stuff.
Oh,
and I only
family stuff.
And I only know this because I actually watch Logan Paul's blog every Wednesday.
Ugh.
And I do it.
God.
I do it because it's just like Unreal. They're showing a lot of behind the scenes shit as far as what they do in the world of the WWE.
Out of everybody and every superstar we have, the last person I want to see behind the scenes shit on is Logan Paul.
But he got married and his daughter had her first birthday.
Well,
yeah, you're going to be away for those two things. But anyhow, I digress. But to me, that match,
that just means he's not a real superstar. A real superstar would have came back and fought through it.
in this day
He's
and
just a
age,
part-timer.
all of them are part timers.
He's a guest. Wasn't he a guest in
Unless-
that storyline?
unless-
He's just a guest. He's a
Unless
visitor.
you running up and down the road, running 300 dates a year,
That's what I'm talking about.
doing live shows.
That's
every
Cody.
week.
Cody's
That's
out there 300 days. Yeah, Cody had a baby. He
Cody-
wrestled on Raw the next night.
Cody just took a month off. What are you talking about?
A month. He was the world champ when he took a month off. The baby was coming, like we talked about last week. That
No. You can't go there with children.
We got to go. So
can't go there with children.
Well, I'm talking about Brandy though. So that kid was coming. Right, that kid was coming.
I thought we were really about to get canceled.
No, that kid was coming. And Cody was like, "You're gonna have to have this on the bus because I got to be at Raw on Monday." And cooler heads prevailed.
Okay,
Obviously,
okay.
they gave him a week off.
Okay.
But, he made sure to come back. He got a good go away storyline, and then he had a good comeback storyline.
We about lost our sponsor, man.
No, Jack Daniels ain't worried about that. Man. All you got to tell him is 100 proof, and we're about 3 glasses in. They expect us to say anything at this point.
So I actually enjoyed the Logan Paul match. The story building up to that was actually really cool because it was the truth. I mean, that and they always say the best wrestling has the truth at the root of it all.
Yeah.
So for me, I like that. I liked Cody's chase back to the belt at SummerSlam. I like that. I liked Brock's total complete dominance of Cena. We all figured that's where they were going to go with that.
Where else?
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. We're going to get into last opponents here in a minute, but let's talk about, is there anybody that John should have gone up against that we just ran out of time?
There's a couple people I wish he could have. It wasn't a time issue. It was more of a contractual issue, but there's 2 people I really wish he could have got. Apparently one there's still potential for, so I'm really holding out hope.
Say
I'm like,
his name and he appeared.
not that guy.
Oh, well, not that guy for
Hell,
real?
man. Ugh.
Oh, nobody's on that train anymore,
Good God.
apparently.
No,
wow.
He's on NXT. I'm let him do what he's doing there, but we ain't going John Cena that, right?
All right.
No, so 2 former John Cena adversaries I really wish we could have got because I think it would have been fun, the back and forth. Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Obviously, AEW talent can't do it.
Because that's where the trash bag wearing hoe
Exactly.
came from.
All that started. That originated back in that time period, and they progressed. As Jericho came back with his different personas and whatnot, those 2 had a good rivalry for a long time, and they're both really, really good on the mic. If you let them both go and just go at each other, I think we could have had a lot of fun.
I know who your other one is.
Who's that other one?
Edge.
Absolutely. Cope.
Cope.
Yep, Cope. So there's rumors. There's scuttlebutt.
There is, but
this is what we're hearing.
It's just rumors, though.
It is just rumors, but it's scuttlebutt.
Oh.
So we do like scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
Yeah, so
I like that word.
Right, right. I had to go into scuttlebutt. 'Cause I was talking to somebody
Can
earlier.
you mollywop a scuttlebutt?
I mean, you might be able to. So Mollywop's been all over TV lately. Did
Yes.
you? It was on Raw this week.
It's been everywhere.
It finds its way up all over. So thank y'all for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Thank y'all for subscribing. Appreciate y'all. But no, so scuttlebutt. We got to talk. There's scuttlebutt on there because there was a. I don't know. I was on TikTok. So guys, if you got a TikTok, look for the Bookers Alliance on TikTok coming up here the next week or so. We got to get all the stuff figured out. We got to get our finances, all that, because we want to get paid, right? We're ready to get paid now. So we're gonna move over to TikTok. But I was talking on TikTok to a younger wrestling fan, a female wrestler, and I'm like, wait, there's young female wrestling fan? Y'all exist? This is a demo we hadn't even begun to look at yet. So I was like, holy hell, we got a podcast, blah blah blah. But I'm in the middle of the conversation, and there were other people in there, as TikTok does. And somebody in the conversation was talking about, they liken the Attitude Era to smut. And I was like, what the hell is smut? And they were like, oh, these girly magazines that talk about like all this crazy raunchy. And I was like, it's called smut? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, that's a thing. So anyway, I was like, well, obviously we can't liken our wrestling podcast to smut because that won't go good. But I was like, with dirt sheet shit can now be scuttlebutt. So we like scuttlebutt. So the scuttlebutt is that Edge's contract isn't necessarily going to extend throughout the year, right? Word is that contract is going to end before December 13th. Rumor has it that there could be a final match on December 13th with one Edge, Adam Copeland, and John the prototype Cena. That would be a good match to see.
As always, Hollywood is going to intervene in that match.
Hollywood? What the hell? Edge ain't got no movie contracts. Ain't nobody calling for no Edge on TV.
Percy Jackson.
Ooh, that's the dude from the NXT guy. Oh, good Lord.
No.
Remember he used to wear the big-ass glasses from NXT?
No, Percy Jackson's a TV show on Disney+.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Are you 7 years old now? What the hell are we doing here? Disney+, what?
So I would love to see Edge come back for one final John Cena match.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. It's not in the cards. I tell you who I do wish Cena could lace up the boots one more time.
Who you got?
I really wish he would lace up the boots against Batista one more time, even though I know that's way out there.
So,
or the Big Show.
The Big Show would be good. That would actually be really good. I would appreciate that, considering Big Show gave John his first title. That would be really good
that
to
and
come back with
that. And I do that, and it wouldn't. I mean, the match I don't recall. The spot I recall. I don't remember what pay-per-view it was. I don't know if it was a Mania or
talking about where he
SummerSlam.
threw him off the ambulance in the car, right?
No, I'm talking about
Holy
where
hell, that was the best
I'm talking
spot
about
in
where
life.
John, I believe with John AA'd the Big Show through this huge spotlight.
Oh yeah. You were talking. I'm sorry. I was still thinking about Batista when he dumped Batista and then Batista retired the next night. That was a good way to go out. But no, I definitely remember what you're talking about with that too. Because they had the whole fireworks. And all
That was
go
a
off
cool
with it.
spot.
Absolutely.
Kind of see.
Could you imagine? Hold on, could you imagine if small Batista now? So we got anorexic Batista, anorexic Rock, and like real light skinned anorexic John Cena. Could you imagine them three getting in the ring today and having a match, and then trying to think back to them in their heyday?
As Frank would say, gross.
Hell yeah! No, absolutely not. Yuck.
So
4 letters, one word. Yuck.
So if there was somebody though that I wanted to see in this last run to kind of rekindle something though, I hate he's going to miss the Dom Mysterio type.
Yeah.
I hate because I really think there's a lot of potential there as far as mic work.
That could still be that final opponent.
The other person that I would love to have seen him get in the ring with, just because I believe the mic battle would have been incredible. Mm-hmm. Again, contractual wise, no way in hell it would ever happen. MJF.
Yeah, that would have been real interesting because the whole MJF likes to go low thing. And, we haven't talked about MJF in a long ass time. I don't even know what he's doing anymore. Does he still wrestle?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, fuck
where's he wrestling at?
As they say, fuck it. But moving on, we've talked about, and, nobody really gets over with MJF. MJF gets himself over and kind of leaves the other guy in the dust.
Right.
That ain't John Cena, right? That could be John's last match. John's whole purpose in the program could be to get MJF over, make him a superstar, and go out on his sword. If MJF tries to pull that kind of stuff on John Cena, John's not going for it. John would flip that, turn that around. I mean, he would verbally molest MJF right on the microphone in front of the crowd and make him take it. There'd be no point where he could not force it, because John is that good with his words that he could force him to succumb to the will at that point.
Right. So we've talked about, kind of matches we're sad he didn't get to have. Let's pivot and talk about who do we think is going to be in John's last handful of matches.
Here we go. Well, we know we got AJ Styles. That's going to be a good one.
Potentially could be a good one. My problem with this match is there's no story behind it. There's nothing.
Every now and again, you don't need a story for certain matches,
and that's fine.
With the way John's been putting his workout in these last few matches, pulling out moves we haven't seen in forever, putting his best foot forward, and what they always. And then we got AJ Styles. I mean, like, AJ's a little bit older now, a little bit slower, but hell, older and slower AJ's still better than 90% of what we got on the main roster.
True.
Which means, like Undertaker always said, I may not be as great as I once was, but I can once be as great as I once was, or whatever in the fuck it was. However we got there, you know what I'm saying. I think that's AJ in that match. I think AJ, we haven't seen him in a while. We haven't seen him in the ring since Dom. I think AJ's taking that time to rest, recover, get himself in the best shape possible to give John the best match possible.
You not watch Monday Night Raw?
I didn't barely watch that. I'll be honest. I half-ass slept through it, kind of.
That makes sense because you completely missed AJ tagging with Dragon Lee on Monday night.
AJ wrestled. Why would he tag against Dragon Lee if he's gonna wrestle John Cena? What are we? Oh my god!
He tagged with Dragon Lee against Los Americanos.
Yuck. So
no wonder you slept through it.
Hold
right?
on. So yeah, that's now I think I identified why I fell asleep in it. But no, so let me wander back to what I said earlier about we don't always agree with what Triple H does and we don't work for the company, so we don't have to kiss that corporate ass. If John Cena and AJ Styles have a match coming up, why the hell are we wasting AJ Styles in a tag match with Dragon Lee against the Americans?
Contractual agreements, all I can come up with.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm not saying that I'm going to sit here and shit on John versus AJ. I'm not saying that I'm not excited for the match. I'm not saying that I'm not interested in the match. I just feel like this match, John posted on Twitter, fans, we hear you. Yes, Triple H, let's make it happen. John Cena versus AJ Styles.
I heard AJ do a promo that said the fans made it happen.
And I'm like, what fans have been clamoring for this match? Like
ever since he did the Styles Clash, I mean, I've heard a lot of internet scuttlebutt about AJ Styles and John Cena getting in the ring.
And that's fantastic. So I mean, cool. Like okay, we're gonna get this match. Great. This is the problem that I'm starting to have with John Cena's last few matches. He gets in the ring with Cody twice. There's story there. Got in the ring with Randy. There was story there. It's history. You get in a match with CM Punk. Loads of history there. Okay. AJ Styles. I talked about that a little while ago. The U.S. Open matches. There's a little bit of history there. Cool. Are we doing fan service for the last few matches? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. It's the last tour. It's the last run. I mean,
okay.
So we're doing. I liken it to Kobe Bryant's retirement run, right? Okay. Rest in peace, Kobe. God knows. But Kobe's last year, everybody knew. I mean, from the start, from the first tip off of opening game, everybody knew. Ain't no chance in hell Kobe's gonna win no championship this year, right? But they sold high-priced ass tickets to every arena, and Kobe actually said he put his best foot forward, worked through injuries and all that other, to at least get on the floor and play some basketball in every away game that he had, because he knew, A, those fans wanted to see him because it was going to be the last time, and B, he felt he owed it to him. So this is what John's going to do. You got to put him in there with somebody that's going to be able to work with him, right? You don't want to he can't get in the ring and have a stinker on his way out. We can't do that. We can bungle some stuff. We can make a misstep. We can fumble the ball every now and again, but you can't turn it over and let John have a bad match in his run. That's a nightmare, right? Especially with the rates of tickets prices that TKO's charging right now. You damn sure can't have a misstep. So you got to put him in there with safe, opponents that are going to give him a A+ match. And there isn't nobody that's going to do that for John better than AJ Styles right now.
Okay. You made a compelling argument, but there's 4 other appearances left.
Yeah.
Who do we got?
I don't think all those 4 are going to be wrestling, obviously. I think we lucked up in the AJ to be a wrestling thing.
And that's where it's breaking my heart a little bit, because squeeze every drop out of this thing, man. Why are we just going? I mean, granted.
Now wait, hold on. Granted, my ass. Now you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
No.
1 minute you want a story. Now you're like, hell with the story. I want to see him wrestle.
No, there's still stories.
What the hell?
There's still stories. You could have done a story. If you're gonna freaking fight for the match on Twix, you could have created a story on Twix.
Who's reading Twix?
Apparently the fans, because they're clamoring for the match on Twix.
That means the office is reading Twix. Hell, we ain't reading it, so that means ain't no podcast. I ain't heard Busted Open talking about the internet fans made this match. I just hear them talking about, hey, it's going to be a good match. So you're going to have to give and take somewhere, right? If you want to see John in the ring every time, you're not going to get the story with it, right? He can't come out in the first hour and tell a story and then wrestle in the third hour.
He was just making an appearance the other week, and it turned into the first ever Sami Zayn U.S. Open Challenge.
Yeah, that wasn't just an appearance. I mean, Sammy was out there first.
He was on.
That was preordained.
No, John was out there first. Sammy came out second.
And maybe, but they both came out there in their gear.
I have a feeling you're going to see him in some tag matches or whatnot. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of these last matches. Who do we feel that is going to be John Cena's final nail in the coffin? Who is going to...
Now we're back to, if you've been listening for the last 2 weeks, you're seeing the pieces go into place now, because we saw what happened on NXT over the weekend. No mercy.
Yep.
Obafemi dropped the word, and we're not even talking about that today. We intentionally didn't want it. We wanted a John Cena episode, so we didn't get into what we saw on NXT. But Obafemi dropped the NXT title to Ricky Saints. Hell, what? But okay, nonetheless.
After 5 DDTs that everybody has taken.
I mean, again, it was Ricky Saints. So
but I digress.
Oba's beat Moose. Oba's beat Trick a bunch of times. Oba's beat everybody. Ricky Saints wrestled him one time.
He never took 5 DDTs from Ricky Saints, though.
Yes, this is true, but he wrestled him one time, dropped the title.
Wait.
Exactly. So now, and no shade to Ricky Saints, right? Hey, more power to him. I like the guy. He's got star power.
True.
I want him to do good in NXT. Great. But we've been saying for a while, it's time to move Obafemi up to the main roster.
Yep.
And I've been saying, at least for the last month, which is probably that's around the same time this whole Ricky Saints thing started, because I think they were like, damn, those guys are onto something. Didn't send a check, no royalties, my ass. Nonetheless, but right around that same time, I started saying, you know who would be a great opponent to send John Cena packing? Would be Obafemi.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden the pieces are starting to move themselves into place to make that happen. So I'm sticking to it. I'm riding that to the end. I want to see on Saturday night's main event, main roster debut for Obafemi against John Cena, John's final match.
And how long we've been pushing for that angle?
At least a month.
You hear that, SRS? How long we've been pushing for that angle?
I mean, I'm trying to tell you, everybody's going to take credit for it next week. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to take credit for it next month.
Preach, preacher.
Everybody's going to take credit for it. Everybody's going to sit around the Thanksgiving table and say, I was the first one to call and predict Obafemi main roster. Now, hell no. We're talking about damn near SummerSlam that we started bringing this up. That this should be the way to go. Maybe after he lost the title at SummerSlam, I think we started saying then, so we're sniffing something. We see something brewing, and his name is Obafemi. And I'm sticking to it. I ain't getting off that train.
Now, this is all about John Cena, but I'm going to add a part to that. If you want to do this and do it right, what better way to solidify Obafemi? Do exactly what you did with Brock Lesnar to Obafemi.
Absolutely.
You put that man in John Cena's retirement match. Mm-hmm. Let him smoke John Cena. And then the next thing you see with Obafemi on TV, he better be knocking on that bus of Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm. And tell him, you know what? The ruler is here.
Yep.
And I'm here to make a statement.
Yep. And then
just let it go from there.
By Rumble, Chamber, or Mania, Obafemi should have that title around his waist.
So again, scuttlebutt, because I do read the scuttlebutt. Scuttlebutt saying that Obafemi might be looking at Brock Lesnar come WrestleMania.
I don't mind that at all.
Give me every bit of that. Put Obafemi over there now. But we're running out of time, so we're not gonna wander off too far into this subject. But I do want to see that, but I don't want to see it because I don't want to see Triple H booking any black wrestler against damn Brock Lesnar. Anywhere. I don't want to see him in the backyard. I don't want to see it nowhere. There ain't no chance in hell Triple H puts a black guy over Brock Lesnar. It's not going to happen. He's going to have a hard time doing it for John Cena, but John might be the one to push for it, and he might insist, and they really can't push back on John on the way out.
True.
But unfortunately, Obafemi, if he knocks on Cody's door, then he's Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because that's exactly what happened. First round draft pick was Carmelo Hayes. First person he wrestled was Cody. He lost, and where the hell has it gone since then?
True.
So, we don't necessarily want to put Obafemi in Triple H's hands just yet, but we do want to do it for the John Cena thing because I feel like John would take control of that. Kind of like The Rock says, I talked to Nick Khan and we worked this thing out. I feel like that's where John's at right now. Like, hey, if he wants it, they say no. I feel like he goes to Nick Khan and says, hey, this is what I want. Nobody's going to say no.
So all right, let's book with the Bookers Alliance. Let's book real quick. If it ain't Oba, and we're saying Rock ain't going to wrestle in December,
God,
so it ain't Rock.
50 pounds by December. That's a lot of steak.
If it ain't Oba, it ain't Rock, it ain't Cody. We done seen Cody twice.
Yeah.
And it ain't Brock. Brock's done smoked him.
Yeah.
Who is it?
You want my option, or you just gonna give yours? Because there's only one left. Yeah, there's only one guy left. We're both thinking the same thing. Absolutely,
the one.
There's only right. The one in the last one.
Yeah,
is gonna be the tribal chief.
Tribal chief.
Reigns. He came back. It said OTC one because he's the only one that can actually do what a legend would have to do. And that, we touched on this 20 minutes ago, right? I said 6 months ago, Roman was the guy. He was the guy. Yeah. There was no way. They've gone into a different realm with Roman, though. I mean, I don't even know if him and John touch at this point. I don't see how their auras can even circulate around themselves.
I don't know how you get there.
But if John wants to go out, John's a wrestling purist. He's gonna go out on his back. There's no way he won't. Daniel Bryan tried it, but Tony Khan John ain't gonna let that happen. John ain't Daniel Bryan.
John would actually fix the match himself.
Yeah. I feel like he would sit down with whoever XYZ talent is and say, this is how it's gonna end. It would be like the Montreal Screwjob all in reverse.
Yep.
Which would be amazing,
that
right?
Would be amazing.
That would give us shit to talk about on here for 3 months. We would never have to delve off that topic. Nope. So please, John, do that. But nonetheless, I digress from that. But if you're not going to do it with Obafemi, if you're not going to take an NXT talent and do it, and they did it with KO, I feel like you do that same model with Oba that you did with KO, right? Yep. Same exact thing. But if they're not going to do it with Obafemi, then you got to do it with Roman. There's nobody else that's even in the atmosphere that could do that.
Yep. I think him and Roman would be a crazy match. And again, talking out of both sides of my mouth, apparently, you don't need a story for that one.
Oh my God! Here we go. Holy hell! So you're just like, you know what? I want this story, but damn it, I don't need this.
You don't need it.
Okay,
you don't need one for
all
Roman.
right.
No, I think as sidebar conversation, I think what they got Roman going on with is Roman is trying to. There's obviously going to be a reformation of bloodlines. Solo's got the MFT going on. I think Roman is trying to get Jay back into the coop, so to speak, but I don't think Roman is going to step up and be the tribal chief. I think he's going to try to elevate Jay.
Yeah. I see Roman going a completely different direction,
which
could maybe be John. I don't know.
I don't
know how we get there.
I see a third party in this whole soiree that's kind of waiting in the reeds, though, and just kind of waiting for their time. I think he may.
You think Big Jim's going for the world title?
I think Big Jim's about to get his ass kicked, and Jacob Fatu, all gas, no brakes, is going to have to come save Big Jim.
Jim is taking enough ass whoopings this year. Good God, hell, he's the personal Samoan whipping boy at this point now.
As we wrap up this episode, these are our thoughts on John Cena's farewell run. It has been a run to most people.
It happened.
It happened.
Yeah.
Let's pray for an ending that has been better than the rest of the run. Mm-hmm. Let's pray for that. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode. Reach out on our social media platforms. Let us know your thoughts on John Cena's final run. Let us know if there's any opponents that he wish he would have gone up against that we missed. And with that, everybody, we thank you and we bid you adieu.
Peace. Next week,
today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.